Let's be honest. If a woman wants you badly, she rarely says it out loud. She shows it in ways so subtle most men miss them, then spend years wondering what went wrong. And the uncomfortable truth. By the time you realize what was happening, it's often already too late. That quiet shift you felt but ignored, that wasn't random, that was interest turning into urgency. I want you to sit with that for a moment because female desire doesn't announce itself with noise. It whispers, it tests, it waits. And if you don't know what you're looking at, you'll mistake desire for confusion, attraction for friendliness, and opportunity for coincidence. Here's the truth most men were never taught. When a woman truly wants you, her behavior becomes inconsistent on the surface, but incredibly consistent underneath. She starts bending her own rules. The rules she claims are just how she is. The rules she enforces with other men without mercy. With you, those rules soften, not because she's weak, but because desire rewrites priorities. She'll suddenly make time she didn't have. Not dramatically, casually. A message here, a call there, a random check-in that isn't random at all. She'll remember small details you never thought mattered. The way you said something once, the tone in your voice when you were tired. Women don't invest memory into men they don't emotionally lean toward. And here's where men get uncomfortable. When she wants you badly, she starts watching you. Not in a creepy way, in a measuring way. She notices how you react to pressure, how you handle silence, how you treat people who can't give you anything. This isn't accidental. This is her subconscious asking one question over and over. Is he safe to desire deeply? You'll feel her energy shift before you see it. She becomes warmer, then distant, then warm again. That push and pull isn't manipulation. It's emotional exposure. She's letting herself step forward, then pulling back to see if you step too. Most men fail right here. They either chase too hard and break the tension, or they freeze and force her to retreat permanently. When a woman wants you badly, she gives you access. Emotional access. She talks about things she doesn't share easily, frustrations, fears, personal contradictions. This isn't oversharing. It's vulnerability offered as an invitation. If you dismiss it, joke it away, or try to fix her, she closes, not angrily, quietly, permanently. Understand this. Attraction grows where presence meets restraint. She wants to feel you could take her, but you don't need to. That balance is rare, and rarity is magnetic. The men who win aren't louder, they're calmer. They don't rush to claim what's already leaning toward them. They let tension breathe. They let her curiosity expand. And most importantly, they respect the signal instead of panicking under it. Because when she starts doing this, she's not asking for attention, she's asking for direction. When a woman wants you badly, she doesn't chase you the way men chase women. She positions herself to be chosen. And if you don't understand that difference, you'll either overlook her interest or destroy it without realizing how. One of the clearest signs appears in how she reacts to your absence. Not dramatic, not desperate, but noticeable. When you pull back slightly, she doesn't disappear. She reappears differently, a softer tone, a warmer laugh, a subtle effort to reconnect. This isn't insecurity. This is emotional calibration. She's checking if the bond still exists without forcing it. Here's something most men miss. Women don't test men they don't care about. Testing requires emotional investment. When she asks questions that seem pointless, when she lightly challenges your opinions, when she playfully disagrees, it's not conflict. It's curiosity mixed with attraction. She wants to see your spine, your calm, your sense of self. When she wants you badly, she starts to mirror you. Your phrases show up in her vocabulary. Your humor becomes her humor. Even your pace, how fast you reply, how long you pause, begins to influence her behavior. This mirroring happens subconsciously. It's her nervous system syncing with yours. Pay attention to how she treats your boundaries. A woman who desires you respects them even when she pushes them slightly. If you say you're busy and she responds with understanding instead of guilt or pressure, that's attraction paired with respect. That combination is rare and powerful. Another sign men often misinterpret is emotional volatility. She may seem hot and cold, interested one day, distant the next. This isn't confusion about you, it's fear of herself. Strong attraction creates vulnerability. Vulnerability feels risky, so she pulls back to regain control. If you react emotionally, you confirm her fear. If you remain grounded, you become safe. When a woman wants you badly, she also starts competing quietly. She mentions other women around you. She watches how you respond, not because she wants to provoke jealousy, but because she wants to measure your value through your options. Women are attracted to men who are chosen by others, but not owned by them. She also starts seeking your approval in small ways, not asking directly, but watching your reactions. Did you laugh? Did you notice? Did you care? If she dresses slightly differently around you, if she shares accomplishments more eagerly, that's not vanity. That's desire seeking validation from a specific source. Here's the part most men get wrong. When she opens emotionally, they rush to label it, secure it, lock it down. But attraction doesn't grow under pressure. It grows under polarity. She wants to feel your presence without losing her freedom. She wants intensity without suffocation. The man she falls for is the man who doesn't flinch, who doesn't rush, who lets her come closer at her pace while holding his own ground. That steadiness becomes intoxicating because when she's doing these things, she's not undecided. She's deciding. And how you show up in these moments determines whether she leans in or walks away forever. When a woman wants you badly, her emotions start leaking through the cracks of her self-control. She may try to play it cool, but desire has a way of bending even the strongest composure. And this is where things become dangerous for men who don't understand the psychology behind it. One of the strongest signals appears in how she reacts to your confidence. Not arrogance, not loud dominance, but calm certainty. When you speak with conviction, when you're comfortable disagreeing without hostility, when you don't rush to explain yourself, she feels it. And you'll notice something shift. Her voice softens, her attention sharpens. She listens more closely. Desire responds to emotional leadership. When she wants you badly, she becomes unusually present around you. Time stretches. Conversations linger. She doesn't rush to end interactions. Even silence becomes comfortable. This matters more than words. Women don't sit in silence with men they feel nothing for. Silence requires trust. And trust is fertile ground for attraction. You'll also notice her intuition turns toward you. She asks how you're really doing, not small talk, not surface-level concern. She senses shifts in your mood before you explain them. This emotional attunement isn't accidental. It's her mind focusing on you as a potential emotional anchor. Another overlooked sign is how she handles your flaws. When a woman wants you badly, she doesn't ignore your imperfections, but she contextualizes them. She defends you. Subtly, she reframes your mistakes, not to others loudly, but internally. Desire doesn't blind her, it prioritizes you. Pay close attention to her reactions. When you show independence, when you choose your own path, when you don't immediately agree, if instead of withdrawing, she leans in, asks questions, or becomes more curious, that's attraction, responding to strength. A woman who wants you badly doesn't want to control you. She wants to join you. Here's the uncomfortable truth. She may create emotional tension on purpose, a delayed reply, a sudden shift in tone, a brief pullback. This isn't cruelty, it's her checking if you're emotionally stable enough to handle closeness. Women fear emotional collapse more than rejection. If you spiral, overreact, or seek reassurance, you fail the test. But if you remain steady, warm, but unmoved, you pass without knowing it. She relaxes, her walls lower, her desire deepens. You'll also notice her curiosity about your past, not in a jealous way, but in a narrative way. She wants to understand how you became who you are, what shaped you, what hurt you, what you learned. This isn't interrogation, it's emotional mapping. And here's the signal that almost no man recognizes until it's gone. When she wants you badly, she gives you choice. She leaves openings. She doesn't corner you. She wants you to step forward because you want to, not because you were pushed. That's why the men who win don't rush to define things. They let attraction mature. They let her feel safe enough to want more. They don't grab the moment. They hold it. Because when a woman reaches this stage, she's not flirting anymore. She's offering access to her inner world. And whether you step into it with strength or insecurity decides everything. When a woman wants you badly, the biggest shift doesn't happen in what she says. It happens in what she risks. Desire always demands risk. Emotional, social, sometimes even ego risk. And when you know how to read this, you'll realize she's already crossed lines she swore she never would. One powerful sign appears in how she lets you see her uncertainty. Strong women rarely expose confusion. They lead with confidence, but when she wants you badly, she allows you to see moments where she's unsure, conflicted, or emotionally unguarded. Not because she's weak, but because she trusts you not to exploit it. That trust is rare, and it's not given lightly. Watch how she behaves when you don't give her immediate reassurance. If she still stays open, still engaged, still warm, that means she's choosing vulnerability over control. Most women protect themselves by pulling away. Staying open is a conscious emotional risk. Another subtle signal is how she begins integrating you into her mental future, not through obvious planning, but through language. You'd like this. This reminds me of you. We should try this sometime. These aren't plans, they're projections. Her mind is testing how you fit into her life before she fully commits emotionally. When a woman wants you badly, she also starts lowering her emotional armor around physical closeness. This doesn't always mean touch. Sometimes it's proximity, sitting closer, turning her body toward you, holding eye contact a second longer than necessary. These micro movements reveal comfort mixed with desire. The body speaks before the mouth does. Here's a critical truth most men never hear. Women don't fear rejection as much as they fear regret. When she starts showing these signs, she's already debating one question internally. If I don't act, will I lose him? That internal pressure changes her behavior. She becomes more expressive, more present, more emotionally responsive. You might notice she starts to share opinions more boldly around you. She disagrees without apologizing. She challenges you playfully. This isn't defiance. It's engagement. Indifference is silent. Desire has a voice. Another major sign is how she responds to your vulnerability. When you open up even slightly and she leans in instead of pulling back, that's attraction deepening. Women who want you badly don't want perfection. They want authenticity paired with strength. They want to feel chosen by a real man, not impressed by a performance. Pay attention to her reactions when you talk about your purpose, your work, your goals. If her eyes light up, if she asks deeper questions, if she remembers details later, that's not politeness. That's alignment. Desire grows where direction exists. And here's where men often self-sabotage. They sense the momentum and rush to secure certainty. Labels, promises, pressure. But desire doesn't need to be rushed. It needs to be respected. When you remain calm in the presence of her interest, you communicate abundance. You signal that you're not desperate for her desire. You're worthy of it. The man who wins at this stage understands something critical. She's not asking to be convinced. She's asking to feel safe enough to surrender emotionally. Because when a woman starts doing these things, she's already halfway across the bridge. And all she's watching now is whether you have the emotional strength to meet her or whether she has to walk back alone. When a woman wants you badly, the final shift is the one that scares her the most. This is where desire stops being playful and starts becoming serious, and you can feel it in the weight of her presence. Things feel slower, deeper, more intentional. This is the phase where one wrong move from a man can undo weeks or months of silent attraction. At this point, she begins to watch your emotional discipline, not your words, not your charm, your restraint. She pays attention to how you handle power because attraction gives you power, and women are instinctively cautious about who they give that power to. You'll notice she becomes more emotionally transparent. She may admit confusion, she may express fear about getting attached. This isn't a warning, it's a confession. She's telling you that her feelings are no longer casual. Men who mock this, dismiss it, or rush to reassure her miss the point. She's not asking to be saved. She's asking to be understood. Another clear signal appears in how she responds to your consistency. When you show up the same way, regardless of her mood, she relaxes. Stability is seductive. A woman who wants you badly is looking for emotional ground she can stand on without losing herself. You might notice she starts seeking your opinion more often, not because she lacks confidence, but because your perspective now matters to her. She values how you see the world. And that's a deeper level of attraction than physical desire. That's respect merging with emotion. At this stage, she also becomes more protective of the connection. She avoids unnecessary drama. She pulls back from chaotic influences. She creates space for you. Not just time, but mental space. Women don't reorganize their inner world for men they don't care about deeply. Here's something most men don't realize. When a woman wants you badly, she starts imagining loss, not out of insecurity, but out of attachment forming. That's why she may ask subtle questions about your values, your loyalty, your boundaries. She's assessing future pain, not present pleasure. Watch how she handles conflict now. If she chooses calm conversation over emotional reactions, that's huge. Emotional maturity under attraction is rare. It means she's invested enough to protect what's growing instead of sabotaging it. This is also where she may test your leadership quietly. Not dominance, but direction. Can you stay grounded when emotions rise? Can you listen without collapsing? Can you hold space without needing control? These answers matter more than looks or money ever will. And here's the mistake that ends everything. Men sense how close she is and suddenly try to lock her down emotionally. They demand certainty. They push for guarantees. They turn attraction into obligation. The moment desire feels like a trap, it dies. The man who succeeds here does something counterintuitive. He stays present without grasping. He allows her feelings to exist without exploiting them. He leads with calm assurance, not urgency. Because when a woman reaches this stage, she's not deciding whether she likes you. She's deciding whether trusting you with her heart is safe. And that decision is made not by what you say, but by how steady you remain when everything is finally on the line. When a woman wants you badly, the final truth is this. She is already emotionally ahead of you, and she's slowing herself down to see if you can catch up without breaking what she feels. This is the moment where desire either becomes something real or something she has to bury and move on from. At this stage, she stops giving obvious signs. Not because her interest faded, but because she's protecting herself. She's no longer testing attraction. She's testing character. She's asking one quiet question. Can this man handle the weight of being wanted deeply? You'll notice she becomes more selective with her energy. She doesn't over-explain. She doesn't chase clarity. She observes. Silence becomes her filter. If you panic in the silence, she notices. If you rush to fill the space with reassurance-seeking or emotional pressure, she feels unsafe. But if you remain grounded, warm, calm, present, she exhales. When a woman wants you badly, she wants to feel chosen, not cornered, desired, not depended on. That's why she watches how you handle uncertainty. Masculine strength isn't control, it's emotional containment, the ability to stay centered when things matter. You may feel a strange shift where she treats you with more respect than affection. This confuses men. They think attraction is fading. It's not. Respect is what she places before surrender. Desire without respect is temporary. Respect with desire is dangerous in the best way. At this point, she also stops competing for your attention. She assumes her value. If you don't meet her with intention now, she won't fight for you. Not because she doesn't care, but because self-respect overrides longing. Women don't beg for men they want deeply. They walk away quietly. Here's the part that stings. Many men only realize she wanted them badly after she's gone. When the warmth disappears, when the messages stop, when the door closes without a fight. That wasn't her losing interest. That was her choosing herself after giving you every signal she could without betraying her dignity. The man who wins understands this final principle. He doesn't rush her. He doesn't fear her desire. He meets it with calm direction. He speaks clearly. He acts intentionally. He doesn't play games, but he also doesn't chase certainty like a man who doubts his worth. When you step forward at this stage, it's not aggressive. It's grounded. It's saying, through actions, I see you. I respect what you're offering, and I'm strong enough to hold it. That's when her resistance melts. Not because you pushed, but because you led. Female psychology is not about manipulation. It's about safety, polarity, and emotional intelligence. When a woman wants you badly, she is inviting you into her inner world, and that invitation is fragile. So here's the question I want you to answer honestly, and put it in the comments below. When a woman shows desire, do you respond from confidence or from fear? If this video made you see past situations differently, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this before it's too late.